Hey, this is Francisca, and this is my mid-crisis life. So, after me and my kids have been kidnapped and held against our will uh, in a COVID jail, and after I had burned my whole life down and moved to Costa Rica, um, I was outside one night and I was on my balcony and I was praying to God, and I was saying to God, God, I want this thing called faith. Like, I know what it is, but I don't have it. Like, can you please show me what this thing called faith is? Can you please give me faith? And the next day I woke up and all my income had gone. All my income had disappeared. All the ways that I had of making money and having money and sustaining our life out there were gone. It all got taken away in one fell swoop. Because God was like, oh, okay, you want faith, yeah? All right, watch this. And just took everything that I had. And it was a really difficult time um, for a lot of different reasons, but mainly because we were in really significant financial hardship for a little while we were out there. And we ended up living in what can only be described as a treehouse. Um, like, bedroom, bathroom, running water, kitchen and stuff, but it was definitely not ideal. And I remember every night I used to go downstairs after the kids had gone to bed and just sit in my kitchen and cry my eyes out, just sob my heart out because of this situation that I'd found myself in. And I don't even think actually that it was about the situation or like wallowing in self pity or sadness. I think it was more about that feeling of not really knowing when it was going to end. And like when you hear people's like rags to riches stories, or okay, just randomly choked, or like when people are talking about when they built their business, or like like Tony Robbins talking about the fact that he slept in his car for like 6 months or a year or something, or when you hear about people saying like, oh, I lived on £5 a week for 6 months, or I worked 3 jobs while I was trying to get my business off the ground. And everybody listens to those stories and they go, wow, man, yeah, that must have been really hard. Like, wow, didn't it build character? And isn't that amazing that you got through that, or whatever else? But I think the thing that people don't realize, and having gone through that situation now, I can say firsthand how overwhelming and discouraging it can be to be in that situation. What people don't realize is, like, looking back, you can say, yeah, that was a really hard time, or that whole year that I lived in my car, or those 6 months that I had to live in a treehouse and I had barely any money, or whatever, right? But it's actually when you're in it, like when you're in it every single day, like, and you don't know when it's going to end. Because looking back, you know that it was a year, but that year, every single day, it's like, this could be forever. Literally, like, this situation could go on forever. I don't know actually when it's going to end. This might just be my life for the rest of my life until I die. This is where I live now, in this fucking treehouse. Like, this is it. And that's like such a really hard um, and challenging position to be in. Because in the present moment, you have no idea when the light at the end of the tunnel is going to turn up. You don't know, and you can't see the way out. You can't even see the way through to the way out. You don't even know what the pathway is to the way out. You don't know where the fucking exit is, like, let alone be able to see the way out. And I remember one night I was sat in my kitchen, sobbing my heart out at just the desolateness of that situation. And I suddenly got this vision of me looking back at myself in that moment from above and seeing myself in that situation. And I remember thinking or feeling at the time, in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years, you're not even going to remember what this pain feels like. This absolute abject pain that you're in now, you're not going to even feel it in the future. You're going to know that it happened, and you're going to remember that you went through those circumstances, that you went through that situation, that you went through that upheaval and you faced that adversity or whatever else, but you won't actually feel the feeling that you feel now. And the reason why I talk about it is because to be able to maintain some level of faith during those times, to be able to maintain some level of optimism that isn't toxic, oh no, everything's going to be fine. We'll just ignore everything that's going on and we'll just believe that everything is going to be okay. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay. Like, okay, I think you're just kidding yourself and you're lying to yourself and you're going to cause yourself to have a fucking breakdown and internally combust. Like, but to have like a grounded like level of optimism and to be able to be both present in the moment and be able to feel what it is that you're going through so that you're not hiding, you're not avoiding, you're not denying, you're not distorting it, but simultaneously to have that and the balance of like, okay, but I need to pull myself up above this fog, because if you pull your head above the precipice and you're not stuck in the fog, in the darkness, in the heaviness, in the grayness and the disillusion of it all, that's the only way that you can see the way out. And the thing is like, it's more of like a feeling, it's more of like an energy that you have to cultivate within yourself within those moments in time, because if not, you do just remain stuck, you remain stagnant, you remain lost. How can you see the way out if you're surrounded by thick black smoke, if you're surrounded by fog? So you have to be able to elevate yourself out of that situation so that you can be in a place where you have the capacity to have the energy to maneuver yourself and motivate yourself to move forward. And I started this story by talking about the fact that I prayed for faith. And someone once said to me, be careful what you pray for, right? Because more time, God doesn't gift it to you. What he does is he puts you in a situation where you are forced to learn that thing that you want. So if you pray for patience, best believe you're going to be irritated for a while until you get your head around, oh, okay, this is how I have patience in this situation. Like if I pray for faith, God's going to put me in a situation where I have nothing but faith to lean on. And it's like, if you're not religious and you don't believe in a higher power, if you don't believe in like, a source or an engineer or energy that's coming from outside of you, fine. Have faith in yourself. Maybe not have faith in yourself in that moment in time because you don't know and you can't see and you are not sure of what the next step is or how you're going to move forward. But have faith that unless you choose to stay and stagnate and be disabled by your situation, unless you choose that, you will always have momentum to move forward. And unless you allow yourself to perceive that there is something more, even if you don't know what it is, because it's more about intention than expectation. It's not about expecting that it's going to finish on this date, in this time, in this way, and you're going to be in this place by this age. It's more about intention, that I know that this will not last forever and that I need to have the energy to keep moving forward. Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's it for today. All right, 3 things that I'm really grateful for today. Let me see. And there's a lot to be grateful for, but nothing is coming to mind. Or, you know, let me be grateful for some baseline stuff. Okay. I'm grateful for my mind. I'm grateful for the fact that it allows me to think and figure things out, that it wants to be helpful, even though sometimes it's not particularly helpful in its pathological desire to help, but that it endows me with the sense and the wisdom and the sensibility and the words to be able to convey my thoughts. I'm really, really grateful for my mind, for my intellect, for my wisdom, for all of those gifts that I was given to be able to analyze and fathom and compartmentalize and uh, augment the world. It's amazing. Um, Thankful for my sight. Like the fact that I get to look at my children's faces and see myself reflected in my various different forms and, see beautiful sunsets and rain and the colors of a rainbow. Like, man, what a gift. What a fucking gift, man. I'm really grateful for that. And I'm grateful for my mouth. I'm grateful for the ability to be able to talk, to communicate, to express my needs, to tell someone that I love them, to scream when I need to taste beautiful food, to eat, to sing. Like, there's so much that I can do with this beautiful mouth of mine. So, really, really grateful for that. Okay, that's it. That's all for today, folks.